Mrs. Stamp is pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Does anybody have any conflict of interest in what's on the agenda?
Yeah. 5.
Thank you. We have the minutes of the December 2nd meeting. We have a motion. Second. All those in favor? 4-0. Additions, deletions?
I have, one addition, and that's, Chief Carr. We talked about citizens award, that did not have any deletions.
Excuse me, where do you want to put that?
5A, please.
5A.
Motion.
Second. All those in favor? 4-0. Mr. Drainage?
Thank you. I'm here to talk about the planning board's recommendation to you all about fees for marijuana establishments. As I think I told you last time, we were going to meet on last Monday, which we did, and we met for about 2 hours, and we spent about an hour and a half of the 2-hour meeting coming up with these 14 numbers, and I assume you have the sheets in front of you that the bill distributed. So we have two recommendations, one a very specific one, and then the second one for the big package of various fees. The first recommendation is that perhaps it might be time for the select board to look at the prices for all of its fees, not just for businesses, but all kinds of fees. And we were led to that conclusion by the second column, the application fee on this big chart. If you look down the column, you'll see that the average for all those different towns, from Auburn down to Elliott, including the state, is $446 for an application fee. But we thought that the application fee should be for the same as any application fee for any conditional use permit. So our recommendation is for $100, which is low, obviously, compared to the average of $446 across the state. So that's our recommendation. You might want to look at your schedule of permit fees. I don't know how long they've been in place, 10 years, 20 years, who knows? And there may be an opportunity to do that. Second recommendation is for these 14 numbers that you see across the bottom of the page. And we're new at this. We didn't have any experience, obviously. And we were greatly informed by what other towns have opted in, what they have done with their fees. Just to help myself, and also I hope the planning board, I did compute averages in each of the columns. So in the first column, the average for application fees in these various towns was $446. Now when I computed the averages, I kicked out the outliers. I mean, if you look at Lebanon, 50,000, I didn't include that. 10,000, I didn't include that. 20, 40, 90, and then the next 50, I didn't include that in the average. So if you want to check my figures, you need to knock out those extremely high ones. So we came up with an average. We looked at that, but in most cases too, we were guided by what the state requirement was. We didn't want to chase away business. Obviously, we want to attract business and bring business to the town. So that's one thing we thought about. Second thing we talked about was the impact of marijuana establishments on town resources and the burden that it might place on the town in terms of enforcement, in terms of police, in terms of other kinds of things that other towns have experienced. Way back when we began drawing up our marijuana establishment ordinance, about a year and a half ago, we read up on the experience of Colorado and some of the other states that opted in a long time ago. And uniformly they said, watch out for these fees. It's gonna cost you more than you think it will. It's not like a regular retail store. I mean, there are gonna be fees and burdens placed on the town by these marijuana establishments. And so protect yourself as a town from these financial burdens. Now, that may not happen in Greenville. And, you know, once you recommend a set of fees, as I said at the beginning, you have the authority to lower them if the burden is not what, as what it might be. So, if you look across, our recommendation is in bold, at the very last row down at the bottom. We have no recommendation for dispensaries way over on the right, because the state only allows 4 dispensaries, and they already have them. So it's not gonna be an issue for Greenville. But if they do at some point allow 6 or 8 or whatever numbers, and it becomes a possibility to have a dispensary in Greenville, then we.
What's the definition of a dispensary versus a store?
No, it's not, and I'm sorry I didn't bring the ordinance here. But
Maybe no can answer that.
I believe one is the way it operates, like how they get to grow for the store. I mean, you'll have to look into it, it's different than what we're doing for like a caregiver.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Sounds like it should be the same.
Yeah, it could, but there's something significantly different about the two. But it's a moot point, you know, since they're only allowing 4, and we have 4 in the state, so. All right, so any questions? And of course, you are obviously free to accept those numbers, or raise them up, raise them down, do your own research, to finally set the fees. But this is what we came up with Monday night.
And they're good recommendations. I don't know how the rest of the board feels. I had 2 or 3 of them that I thought were kind of high. Like cultivating free, the $10,000.
Yes, in those cases, if you look up 2 spaces, you'll see that they're the same as the state. We didn't know what was high or low, so the state was 3K, and the state has the cultivation 2, 1,500/3K. 1,500 is for outdoor grow, and 3,000 is for indoor grow. So we went with the indoor grow. We think that, given the season and the temperature here, that would be most likely. So in all those instances, cultivation 1, 2, 3, and 4, we just took the state number.
Yeah.
Not very sophisticated way of doing it, but that's what we did.
Well, it's the first time.
Yeah.
Number 4 I thought was really high too.
Yep.
And the only other one was that's the medical manufacturing over here, 3rd one from the end. Yeah.
And the slash in that one, for us, 2,000, 3,000, has to do with the tiers, the size of, again, I think you have.
That's on the square footage.
I think you have this on the application, form. So.
One of the things I found interesting, and it actually, it makes sense, basically, if you think about the laws, but the other towns in Piscataquis County that Mike and Bill had worked with and Jackson, just to see what they're doing, people are all over the place. You know, I mean, I know that we voted the ordinance, but, it's interesting that in some of these areas that, I don't know if they don't wanna address it, or whether they just don't want it, period, or whatever, but I just found those, footnotes in a couple of them interesting, so.
Someone mentioned at our meeting Monday night that there is no other town that has opted in within 50 miles of us.
Shirley has opted in.
Shirley has?
Shirley has opted in, yeah.
Has they said anything, do you know?
I think they were working on it this week. I'm not sure.
What'd you think of it?
I don't know nothing about it, so all I can go by is what's in front of me, and it seems reasonable to me. And it's something we can look back on and change in a year, or, you know, if it doesn't pan out, if we're losing or winning, you know, we're scaring people away, we can adjust, and if we're, you know, doing fine, we can keep going as we're going.
I think one of the points that John made is very, very important, and I also appreciate the planning board's suggestion of us looking at reevaluating cost for all services. Because when we sit down and we do budgets, it's always well this, well this, and well this, but we've never taken some of those dives that we could possibly pick up, you know, some offsetting costs to at least to try to help us with, you know, some of our budgeting stuff. And that, they may be small dollars, but I think procedurally, in process, that's something we should start thinking that way. So I appreciate that suggestion.
Oh, I do appreciate their work. I just kind of added it up roughly, and if we went with, in Greenville, with store at 2, and cultivated 3, we went 5,000 to 10, and 4, 15 instead of 30, 2 on the manufacturing, what was the other one I changed, oh, and 1,500 on the medical manufacturing. We would collect 31,950 a year. Is that significant enough to cover what we anticipate it's gonna cost the town? I mean, I guess we don't know.
I don't think anybody's gonna know until we go through it.
That, just, seems like a lot of money, for one person to pay for a store, I don't know, that was just
And
my biggest.
the folks you talked with in Colorado, were they, you know, comparably sized to us, or was it, you know,
It was statewide. It was
statewide?
a statewide experience, which obviously is. Because they had, you know,
May I say something?
Sure.
So, with the Greenville recommended fees, and something that I feel we should think about is, if we want business in town, or do we want it to go to the unorganized territory over the bridge, which is state. So, someone could still have a store locally, but just over the bridge in the junction, which is the state fees. So if you look at the state fees, and you look at our fees currently without adjusting, you might scare businesses away, because they can go over the bridge and just use state fees, and that's it. There's no other fees. So currently, the way I understand it, correct me, John, if I'm wrong, and maybe you can correct me too, right now, you have to pay a state fee, and then you have to pay the Greenville fee. Am I correct?
that's correct, every year too, every year.
So
The permit is a one-time,
correct,
permit is one time.
but everything else adds up. Or Shirley, now we know Shirley opts in, I mean, they could put the store right before the Greenville line, and so it's all, you know, it's, yes, you wanna make sure that the town is taken care of, but on the other hand, you don't wanna lose business. So you kind of balance that a little bit. That's my two cents.
So in that, if I'm hearing you right, Mike, so if we're going across on the state side, it looks like we're in line or below on most of those categories, is that correct? Or am I missing something?
We are in line, the way I see this.
Oh, we're higher,
We're
we're higher on the cultivating too.
yeah,
Well, they got a range
the
there.
high of 10, right.
One's indoor and one's outdoor.
Yeah, one's indoor, one's
Oh, okay.
So let me ask you this, John, and maybe you understand a little better than I do. So if I want to open a store in the Junction or in Greenville, do I pay the cultivating T3 outdoor 5,000 plus the 10,000?
No, either or. Well, unless you're doing both. Unless you're doing both.
But annually, but maybe you, do I have to pay annually $15,000?
If you're doing both, like if you're doing outdoor, you'll have to pay that every year,
One to the state and one to the town.
one to the town. And like when you're in unorganized territory, you're just paying the state fees.
Okay, so it's a single fee for the state and not a double fee for the town. Is that a better way to explain it?
No, there's just two sets of fees.
Yeah, but what he's saying is if they're in the unorganized territories, all they gotta do is pay the state.
Right.
If they're in Greenville, they pay the state plus the town.
Two sets of fees.
Yes.
Well,
We talked about that as well, about the unorganized territories. And, that's, was our concern, as Mike has expressed, is not to chase business away. And we tried to balance that with the hypothetical burden to the town. Hypothetical, because we're not in that situation.
but none of our resources would be dedicated to the state anyway. Would that be a wash?
And that's the
Like,
balance.
no, I think wasn't part of the reason that Greenville opted in was for the revenue?
We don't get any revenue.
Yeah, you could like those fees.
Just the
Yeah,
fees.
yeah,
Just
so
the
tax,
fees.
I mean,
Correct. There's no tax.
almost $32,000.
And, it's property taxes as well. So
Yeah.
the store pay property taxes, and we'll have some employees potentially, I don't know how many, but, if you're right, we will lose those fees. So it's a little balance, something to think
I
about.
think it's gonna be very hard for the first year, just till everybody sees, kind of a shot in the dark. And you don't wanna scare anybody away from doing business, for sure, not in the climate we have now.
But we also need to get our costs covered, because we are, all the way across our municipal board, we have many loss leaders that we could hopefully try to offset. But
We don't know what those are, yeah. I guess we won't know until we see it.
So I guess I would suggest you think about it, do your own research a little bit, and ask some more questions, instead of making a decision tonight.
I think that's sound advice.
Call around to some of these towns, see what their experience has been.
Didn't Bill do that?
No, he just went to websites.
Oh,
Just went to websites.
oh.
That's a ton of fees.
I know, obviously,
I mean-
you don't want it.
Yeah.
I mean,
A lot of these numbers are pretty substantial, I think, $2,500, $1,000, in all these different towns, pretty substantial.
No. Like, would one business have all these?
Yeah.
So I would, 1, 2, 3, 3 of them, I'd be putting in for 3 applications.
Cultivation 1, 2, and 3, or
What's that?
cultivation 1, 2, and 3?
Cultivation, I haven't made my mind up yet on 2, 3, or 4,
Okay.
just because I'm just waiting.
Okay.
But store, and
Store.
manufacturing,
Sure.
Well, I mean, how long do you wanna take? The people that are interested, just, I mean, they waited quite a while for this, and I think they'd like to get started on this thing. I don't think we should drag it out.
Further. So at this point, how, any of the operations of any of these companies, how far along are they? Are we holding them up at this point?
We have, I know of two interests. And I don't know if we're gonna become the Greenville.
So are they business ready? If they had a license tomorrow, could they open their business?
I can't answer that question. I don't know, there's no permit, of course. There's no application. I do, people have been at meetings, planning board meetings, and expressed some interest.
I mean, that's good, and, I agree with Bonnie, I mean, that we don't wanna hold these people up, but part of this, I mean, and John makes some excellent points, and part of this, in my opinion, we're still shooting in the dark a little. I think it'd be a great idea if Bill could, get a live person and, get some experiences out there and saying, there are red flags, what would a caution be, but, I gotta tell you, I'm adamant about getting our costs covered. I don't care if we make any money, but we have to start covering our costs.
But no matter what that number is, for the cost, we're not gonna know that. So, I mean, you can't set these fees at a certain price and know that that's what
Right.
it's gonna cost you.
But the one thing that we do know is that there will be costs.
Yes,
The question is, and one of these businesses may require 10 times our cost than another. I don't know the answer to that, but again, what would be a reasonable cost? Do you take, do you anticipate by asking a question, could Bill get on the phone and say, how much enforcement time, how much time are you folks dedicating to this? And maybe, and I mean, Richard's right, I mean, we could always look at it. It's a hard number to get at, but we've got to set something and reevaluate. Can we go down or up or, whatever? We need some more data to be able to be fair.
I guess I'm not sure they've done a lot of work on this.
Oh, it's very obvious to me.
And I'm not sure what data you want, other than other towns, what they have, issues they've had. We may not have those same issues. This is all kind of, to me, trial and error at this point.
I get it, but we don't even know what they're doing. I mean, you can ask a simple question. How much time has your police department spent in this? The fact that our police chief, our fire chief, our CEO, or our town manager have to sign off on all of these, and the planning board, that's a cost. Even if we give them an hour or 2 hours a year, we've got to have some sort of formula to determine cost.
I'm not arguing, I'm just saying, we're not gonna know that for a year, so you can't set a specific price until you know what you're dealing with, to know that you're gonna cover it. You see what I'm saying?
Sure. You can set a price and then you can adjust it after. My concern is that a price be set and that we stick by it and then reevaluate it versus not setting any price at all. You see what I'm saying?
No, because, I'm saying, and I think you're saying, we need to set a price.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm not sure how much more data we need to do that after the work of the planning board.
how about a phone call to a couple of these towns and saying, you know, how much time does your police department spend in the process? How much time does your CEO spend in the process? How much time does the town manager spend in the process? We just need, and it may be an hour, it may be 40 hours. And then we can,
Do any of these towns actually have these? I mean, recreational just became legal, right? So these towns don't have any more data than we do, is that correct or no?
Based on their experiences,
If they don't have any of this recreational open at this point,
yeah, but they have set these fees.
that's what I mean, so they don't know.
They don't know what their experience is. I don't think
Yeah.
anybody does, because they just
Yeah,
started it.
nobody's got it. There is one open in Bangor, but how long they been open?
One just opened in Waterville, South Florida.
But they're just opening because it just became legal, so nobody's got, knows what it's gonna cost.
So it's a wonder how they come up with these.
other states
I know,
have,
stab in the dark. Yeah.
I mean, other states must have some of this data.
Yeah. Can I mention one more thing about our chart? Over on the right-hand side, you see the columns for medical store, medical cultivation, medical manufacturing. Don't worry about those, because in our ordinance, we combine the two. All right, medical and adult use. So we combine, and you know, and if you wanna look for the medical store, the suggested fee is the same for the regular store. For medical cultivation, the range is the same as cultivations 1, 2, 3, 4. And for medical manufacturing, 2K, 3K, it's the same for manufacturing. So, you know, you don't have to think about medical store, medical cultivation, medical manufacturing. It's all rolled into one in our ordinance.
Richard, what's your thoughts? You're awful quiet over there.
Scramble it all around.
So I think John's information is valuable. I also think that, you know, he made a point of, we don't have to vote on this tonight. I think, personally, I think it would be important for Janet to weigh in on it, because I know she's very interested in this. And then secondly, is there some sort of way that we could, somehow calculate a base cost or a cost? There's gotta be something out there. And if that wouldn't work, then I know that Mike pointed out the realities of some of these businesses have to pay twice. But again, you know, we can't tell them where to locate or place their businesses.
I think it's pointless, if we really don't wanna lose out on.
I get that, but these people are probably gonna go somewhere else anyway, just because of the simple town taxes. You know, and to be honest with you, I don't know how much space is actually available now in Greenville to utilize these businesses. I don't know the answer to that. But, so if we would advocate, I think, and the best benchmark that we would have at this point would be to follow the state, the state fee structure model. But again, I'm not saying that I'm gonna vote on that tonight.
Richard?
Yeah.
Let's do something here.
I thought I was ready to vote on when I come in, but I don't think I am now.
And how long would you like to kick this down the road?
Well, wait till the next meeting.
January 6th.
Like, is anybody gonna beat you to death if we wait till January sixth for a decision on this,
I hope not.
or at least bruise you.
I don't think so. You know, it is, you know, like I just asked John, how did all these other towns come up with these figures? I have no idea. It's definitely, how do you come up with those figures? How do you begin to
And
come
they
up?
just, they vary so much.
You know, I don't know if you could, vote on one, and then, like Bonnie said, after a year, can you make the adjustment up or down? I don't know that. So is this it? That's set in stone.
I'm all for that, but I think that we still need to get our hands on what our costs would be. And I get it, I mean, Bonnie's right, I mean, it's a hard, but there's gotta be somebody out there in another state or something. Because these types of operations, although I know that they're independently owned and operated, but, you know, there's only, you know, one way to grow, I can't say one way to grow a marijuana plant, but on the other side of the coin, I can't imagine that these folks don't wanna make money, so they're gonna want it to be their most efficient processes or something.
So the other night, the planning board was discussing, and John, you can chime in, please, where now anybody could put a store in from just over the railroad tracks all the way to the Shirley line, right? So everything's for sale, everything's got a price. So, you know, it doesn't have to be downtown, it could be anywhere, it is allowed. So,
We also voted to, allow marijuana establishments in that new commercial, village commercial district we created a couple meetings ago. So.
McDonald's, have a drive-through.
right by.
Take out.
I tried to get that one.
All right, guys, what's your pleasure? I mean, how we gonna,
So we're revisit on, well, six,
It's the first one.
we did first year, anyway, that way we can start out the first of the year with something.
so we're not gonna have a motion? I would like it noted, Gino, that I disagree with this decision. I think the research has been done, and I think that we should set our fees. So,
So noted, Madam Chair.
pardon?
So noted, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else on that? Thank you, John, for your work.
Thank you, John.
Here to serve.
What's that?
We're here to serve.
Okay, 5A. Chief Carr, what can we do for you?
I just wanted to stop in real quick. Mike and I was talking, after, as everyone knows, Josh was injured. And, put the word around town, and they're talking about, you know, all kinds of rumors about what actually happened. And, basically, you know, Dave Hall was involved, and there's all kinds of rumors and stuff. But when Mike and I was talking, mentioned that I'd like to, do something for Dave Hall, because he was actually a big part of what happened that night. So we come up with basically a plaque, to award Dave with, and I'll give it to him on Friday. I just wanted to just inform you guys, let you guys know what's going on. And I have basically a letter of what happened, I'm gonna give him with the plaque, and I just wanted to read that to you, at least, so everybody actually knows what actually did take place. On November 4th, 2020, at approximately 4:30 p.m., Officer Josh Way executed a traffic stop on Evelyn Street, just before the entrance to Dave's Automotive. Upon approaching the operator of the vehicle, Officer Way noticed that there were 3 males in the vehicle, the operator as well as 2 passengers, each with a firearm sitting beside him. Officer Way requested the operator exit the vehicle to conduct field sobriety tests. Once outside of the vehicle, Officer Way noticed an item that he believed to possibly be drugs sticking out of the pocket of the operator. As a result, Officer Way attempted to handcuff the male, who resisted fled with a handcuff on one wrist. While this was taking place, Dave Hall observed blue lights and looked outside his office window to see what was happening. Dave saw the struggle and the male flee on foot running down the Snowmobile ATV trail, which runs alongside the property. He saw that Officer Guay was giving chase. When Dave saw what was happening, he left his office and started to run across the parking lot to cut off the fleeing male. As he came across the parking lot, he saw that Officer Guay was getting up off the ground and saw that he was injured and unable to use his arm. At this time, Dave did not know what had happened to Officer Guay. Thinking that he had either been shot or stabbed, it was obvious that he had no use of his arm. As the male continued to run down the trail, Dave intercepted him and was able to take him to the ground and restrain him. Dave then assisted in handcuffing the rest of the male. For his quick actions and assistance on this evening, Greenwood Police Department is awarding Dave Hall with a Citizen Award for valor. And we basically made this plaque up, with assistance of that, of course. And I just wanted to show everybody, things come out pretty good and stuff, and then Friday, I'm gonna go over and get Josh to come in and just give Dave just basically appreciation.
Very nice gesture.
I mean, it could have gone a lot worse and a lot different than it did. I mean, things worked out for the best considering, Josh is back to work this week.
That's very nice.
And I don't know if it's something that's ever been done in town here, but it's something that I think is, just show appreciation, so.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to update you guys. And
Nobody will mess with him.
yeah, they'd probably be surprised if they tried.
I know, Dave. That's very nice, Tim, thank you.
And that was just all I had.
Pretty good.
Okay, where we at? Amendment to the personnel policy, paid leave law.
Okay, so, we had some literature last meeting, and I'm hoping we'll be able to brief that. Effective January 1st, 21, there's a new, paid leave law that takes effect. And basically, it allows anybody, part-time, full-time, part-time, temporary, seasonal, with an asterisk, you have to work at least 120 days during the year to be able to benefit from this new law. And basically, it is for every 40 hours worked, an employee will receive 1 hour paid time off. So, after reviewing the personnel policy, for what we have in place right now for some part-time employees, it is below the state minimum, which is a new law. So, we need to, I feel we need to amend the personnel policy regarding the new paid law. And I referenced the state statutes, you'll be able to copy the state statutes, about the, employment practices for the earned paid leave. And this is, what I would like to replace it with, the policy. And
So this can't be for all employees, right?
this is the minimum for all
Right,
employees.
I get it, but not all of our employees fall into that category of us not meeting.
Yeah, didn't you say that we were already covered with the full-time employees?
Oh, yeah, we're covered, some areas we're covered.
Okay, and we're probably well above.
We are,
Okay,
for
okay,
full-time employees, yeah.
So this is just for a few of our employees that there are a few of our employees that aren't meeting this at this point, but most of our employees are.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. To sum it up, yes. So, right now, we have a regular employees or employees who work less than a normal work week throughout the year policy. And it's based on, it starts out after 5 years of service as a regular part-time employee, having been scheduled at least 20 hours during this time, regular part-time employee in good standing with the town is eligible for 2.5 days of paid time off per year. And that's after 5 years. This is effective immediately, this new law. So if you were hired on January 3rd as a part-time employee at the library, you immediately start earning paid time off after every 40 hours of work, you get an hour, where we are at after 5 years of service. So we have to amend that policy in section 1.8, section 3, to make sure we're compiling with the law. So just a amendment, removing what's in there and adding this, and, the other employees that are unaffected by it, full-time, we're fine, we're above it, no issues.
Did we have were you gonna try to figure out what the fiscal cost on that would have been, or what the hit?
Not yet,
Okay,
it all depends on the hours they work, you know?
right, but I mean, on the
30 or
current,
40 hours, you know, I mean, the airport person, part-time right now is, well, was averaging about 20 hours a week, but last week he had to plow, so it's a little more hours, where he's gonna gain some hours, for every 40 hours of work, he gains an hour. So it's tough. The firefighters are exempt.
Right.
Or anybody that works under 120 days. So most of our per diem employees will not.
so we should be able to project that though for budget time next year, right?
We hope so, yes.
Okay.
And we have a, Excel spreadsheet that, Mark has developed for us for tracking, and he is gonna track that, and it shows what they've earned, what they've used, and remaining. It's a very easy Excel sheet, and he and I have already discussed it, and so I already have it, we're ready to roll. So basically what I did was I just took the, state statute and just incorporated it into a paragraph form. And so I'm just.
Well, we have to follow the law.
Right, yeah, that's just it, I think we need to amend the policy, it's not an adoption, it's an amendment. So this policy was adopted in 1996, and amended again in 2001, 2009, and 2014. So, and I feel that this is just the beginning of the amendments that we have to look at.
Motion to approve the amendment.
Second.
All those in favor? Could we get a copy of that check in our file? I thought you had a different, one than what you
You
gave
should
us.
have two pieces of paper, yeah,
Oh, okay, I
Yep.
missed the other one, I guess.
you should have.
Okay. We have a liquor license for Kelly's Landing. You don't have any issues with that, Jim, do you?
What's the fee?
Pardon?
What's the fee?
The fee?
Yeah, okay, alcohol compared to marijuana. Here.
I think it's 1,500, isn't it?
I don't know.
I don't believe we get anything. We don't get anything. The state does.
I mean, I think,
Why not? I mean,
but I think,
I mean,
that's a
that's
good point, and I think.
alcohol, the number of calls versus number of calls for service.
So I got a question, how many calls do you get for alcohol compared to, like, marijuana calls?
Comparing the two.
Yeah, you
marijuana
know, I
calls,
mean-
alcohol is always central.
Legally, I don't think we could do that. I don't think we could.
No, I don't know, I was just
No,
asking.
because I
you know,
think,
for-
I think even if the selectmen didn't sign it, the state can still give them a license. I think,
I don't know that.
I believe that's true.
Find out. We can charge them too. And it's not just this one establishment, it'll be all.
Right, no, I was just doing that because of just timing, I mean, I just kinda curious if, you know, what the comparison is for
Yeah.
businesses. I didn't know if all businesses have an application for a business in town and what the fees vary, but.
I think when we do it, it's just telling the state that we don't have issues with it, that's what it is. That was my.
I have no issues, no.
That was my
problem.
understanding. Joint cause trouble.
Interesting.
Okay, could I have a motion?
Yes.
No.
No? I didn't find it.
Okay, Mike, you can start the report while it's going around, yeah?
So, in your little packets, you have the budget actuals. There was one thing that stuck out at me, and that was the garage repairs and maintenance, is at 189% of budget. That's been corrected. So the invoices that were, assigned wrong.
So they
Budget code,
reclassified.
yeah, reclassified, that's been corrected. You have also a copy of, the quarterly review. They visited 453 parcels. They made 173 changes, with a gain of $637,900. So, these quarterlies do pay for themselves.
So, a quick question on that, Mike, so that, a net gain of 637 for the quarter, right?
Yes,
Okay, that's quarter only, so,
just this quarter, just this review, correct.
okay. So, and then as it relates to, any net, to the mill rate gain, or I should say not to the mill rate gain. So we should be able to calculate the dollars on that based on the mill rate, right?
Mhm.
So we took that, multiplied it by the mill rate, to be an increase in the cash coming from the town.
So they did, right, evaluation. So, they found several properties that that did not have permits for certain structures. They reported the bills following.
And that's where we really should buckle down on our fees, you know, because,
Well, that's just it. There was one property they visited that showed just land, and they went up there and they reported that there was a camp, a lean-to, and a shed. So, interesting.
it all should be a problem.
It should be, yes, Bill was on. So Bill and I had we held a meeting, yesterday with the water and sewer personnel in town to discuss the restart of the road opening permit applications, or, process. Everybody's on board, we're all on the same page, and we understand that if there's an emergency, they can just open the road, come the next day, as soon as possible to get that permit. And they understand, depending on the season, that there's a time frame of repair to the road, either as it was or better. And it's up to them to maintain that opening during that time of closing, of repair and then closing the road. So if they need to add gravel, it's on them, it's not the town's responsibility. So they're aware of that. The new skid steer, is working on great on the sidewalks. I don't know if you've seen the sidewalks, but they look great. We're off to a good start, just went through that machine. No complaints at all.
We have an operator that is consistently.
Consistently, no.
Yeah.
We don't, because Ted and I discussed it, and we thought just hiring someone off the street into a new machine, we weren't comfortable with that, and we think that some of the reason why the whacker had some issues with so many operators in it. So, Billy's been doing a great job with the sidewalks, clean up.
Who's doing it for?
Billy, our new employee at the Public Works.
Billy.
I went out Sunday morning from the storm, and I was in it for about 7 hours doing the sidewalks, and Billy did it on Monday, and cleaned up afterwards. So, I think if you get an operator or someone who knows the machines,
You mean Ted let you in that machine?
he was all over it. He was all over it. He was very happy with that.
Good.
So, it was fun too. So, so Sally, has repaired and repainted several picnic tables, as up to today, and she has almost completed all of the repairs, new boards on, I've taken the rotten boards off, put new ones on, and then repainted. We are at about 95% complete, with the town book for last fiscal year, and we hope to have it ready to go to the printers, just after the first of the year. Rocky's on vacation next week, and Beth is off the week after, and we need to dedicate it to somebody. you need to dedicate to somebody. And the cover, Beth wanted me to make sure you guys knew, it's gonna be the Junction Playground on the cover.
Nice.
So we just need someone to dedicate it to, so start keep the caps on. The next meeting's at 6, so
Oh,
we
okay.
should be done.
Did anything ever go to Gussie Harris at all?
Yeah, I think they did, yeah.
I think that was last.
Is that last
Last
year?
Quiet one, yeah, I think. The Moosehead Outdoor Alliance, which is the mountain bike, grassroots organization, that's their name, their technical name. But the bike group, they've approached NREC for possibility of, using their trails off, for the cross-country ski trails during the off-winter season. Basically, sharing the ski trails and sprucing them up and working with NREC. From what I understand, Tim Overy is, ecstatic about the idea of some help and some dual use up there. So the town is a landlord for that property, not all the property, but some of the property. So I reviewed the lease and I couldn't see anything in the lease preventing, NREC from allowing that to happen. So they're asking, Moosehead Outdoor Alliance would like to come to next, select board meeting and discuss this with you. So I'm just throwing it out there, putting it up on your plate. You know, do they need permission? What do they need to do to, make that happen? To have a little mountain bike park up there on the cross-country ski trail. So NREC leases it for 30 years for $1. And like I said, I couldn't find anything in the lease preventing a sublease. There are some sublease, items in there, but it talks about the building, not the land.
I think the only thing that would probably come up would be liability.
Right, and that, the insurance.
That would be covered by NREC, right?
I would think, that's what it says, because NREC is already covering the liability for it. It's just something to think about.
I mean, other than that, I wouldn't think they need that permission as long as they've got it covered with.
It's allowed, I checked with Bill said it's allowable, so, you know, because we own that, there's like 6 acres where that area is, the Old West area, NREC owns 17 acres, that goes down to Marsh Harbor. It's treed and somewhat cleared. So that's the area they want to use for a mountain bike park. So I think it's a good idea to use some dual use and some more activity in town. All right, so I want to move on to the next thing, which is the industrial park lots. Right? There's, one person is in the process of closing, getting ready for closing. And, Rich McCarthy contacted the buyer and said that you cannot have a well on that according to your deed. So fast forward a little bit, we did some checking on this yesterday, and each deed is marked with a book and page, right, in the registry of deeds, okay? So that is entered into our computer system called, the program is called TRIO, T-R-I-O. So those book and pages are entered with the map and lots. So I went in, when I started this process, I went in and got the property on the book, sorry, the map and lot, and went to TRIO and pulled up the book and page for the deed. Went to the book and page, got the correct, according to TRIO, I got the right one. So the deeds that were given to the buyers are the incorrect deeds. So the restrictions that we had talked about closing in 30 days, building within 1 year, and completing within 1 year, was with the I-Park, the industrial park lot that Mr. Pepin had owned at the beginning as you go into the development, the original development. So in our investigation yesterday, we got Roxanne involved with it, and she said, "You have the wrong deed." I said, "No, I don't. This is what's in TRIO." We showed her, and she goes, "Well, it was entered incorrectly into the computer system." So, now, now we have the correct deed, and there aren't any restrictions like that, or any covenants.
Why are there two different deeds? Why is one not right? Why are there two?
Because I guess there was a prior, the original industrial park,
Yeah,
and then when the land went, when Greenville Steam went, I guess it closed, I don't know, the town ended up with all of the land by the industrial park, by the transfer station, I'm not quite sure how this all happened, but the different deeds. So the original lots for the industrial park are for where Mr. Pepin's business is on that side. These deeds are not, they're not the same.
I don't mean to interrupt. How does that affect the other people who have bought lots out there? I mean, is this just these new lots we're talking about?
Yeah, parcel, the parcels is 1, 2, several parcels. So it has all the compass bearings and all the, surveying bearings on here. So because we entered, the wrong book and page was entered into the computer system incorrectly, so the wrong deed was given to the potential buyer at the bidding, okay? So, the correct deed doesn't have anything to do with, doesn't mention anything with the 30 days, 1 year, 2 year clause at all. So, the question that they had was about the well, is now straightened out. So, because the original, he was right, he couldn't have a well on those original deeds. The original deeds that we gave them, the old deeds, so to speak. I don't know if you could follow all of this, but it's
It's a bit confusing.
So what do we have to do to?
no, we don't do anything, in my opinion,
So
as
this
long as the buyers have the
information-
correct deeds,
Right.
when they go to closing, they're fine. I just wanna let you know that if you being one of the buyers, if he doesn't have a building in 2 years, there's nothing we can do, it's not his thing, basically. So it's not the correct deed. And she apologized, and she goes, it happens, people are human. And it was an error, it was entered incorrectly.
So it was our clerical error,
It was entered into the computer system incorrectly, that's correct.
so it's town of Greenville's clerical error, so to say.
Say it again?
It was the town of Greenville's clerical
Yes, it
error.
was.
Okay.
I'm not pointing,
No, I'm
just saying,
no, no.
I did she said, I did it correctly. I went to the 3-0, I got what I needed to get, and get the deed, but then it turns out it wasn't.
No, I'm not looking for any punitive stuff, I'm just.
I don't mean to be dense, but back when, through the years, when we sold to, okay, recycling, Steve Hinckley, Scott Harding, all those facts there,
Mhm.
that was in their deeds, that they had to have a building, da. So, why are the deeds different now? I mean, the same owners were back then.
I don't know that, I didn't write the deeds. I don't know.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, the town owned that land because, and they sold it to these people. So, how do you get a
So-
second deed?
So
Am I being dense?
No. She has map 7 lots, 3-8, 3-9, 3-10, 3-11, and 3-12. Those are all the ones that are on, that transfer station side.
Can you have different deeds for different lots? Is that what it is?
Sure, you can,
Maybe that's what it is.
different covenants, you can do
I'll have to
that.
come in and talk to Rocky.
Please do. Yeah. Maybe she can explain it a little better. I'm just trying to explain that there was an error made in the clerical and the input in the computer, and who knows how long ago. And now, I think they would have found it when they did the title search anyways, because they didn't have the right title.
What do they do?
So they can have a well up there?
Yeah.
Oh,
They can-
well, yeah, I was thinking.
And there's nothing, there's nothing,
Well.
there's nothing about no junkyard, there's nothing about keeping your place clean and neat, it's not, all that verbiage was in the other deeds, not in this deed.
So
bring it to speed.
the transactions of the sales will continue with this.
As far as I know, yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, any questions, please come in and talk to Rocky.
Yeah.
That's all I have. That's what my name is for.
Questions for Mike? Public comment? Is Jonathan unmuted in case he has a comment?
Jonathan is muted, but he can unmute himself. Jonathan?
No public comment? Nope, got anything in your mind?
Have a lot on the
Nothing much. Richard?
I lost it.
You lost it?
Well, I'll come back to you if you want. Deal?
Yeah, I'm good.
And I'm all set. And do we have any other business? Hearing none, could I have a motion to adjourn? Richard? No? All those in favor? And what time you got there, too?
7:32.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
You too, and a happy new year.
No,
Hopefully we have a different year